is 8:36 on Tuesday, February 24th, and it looks like a quorum is present, and the Minnesota Senate Education Finance Committee will now come to order. I would like to just point out that this week is Public School Week, and I would like us all to celebrate the educators, the staff, the students that are in the public education system, because we know the crucial role that our teachers play in order to provide a free, accessible education, and the cultural and civic responsibility of educators in this country is what makes it such a really great country. Today we are going to be focusing on attendance, and we have a full docket of individuals here. We will have presentations from MDE, from Hennepin County, State Attendance Pilot Program, and other individuals. But before we get started, I just want to go through a few housekeeping items for today's hearing. Everyone here today must be seated when they are in the hearing room. There will be no standing or sitting in the walkways or aisles. If you need further accommodations, please communicate with the sergeant staff, and you'll see them standing here and in the back. Signs are not permitted in the hearing room or at the testifiers table, so please leave any signs outside. Clapping and other disruptions are not allowed, and if these protocols are not followed, you will be removed from the room. Members, please use the on-off switch that controls your microphone. Be sure to switch it off when you're finished speaking and limit side conversation to avoid additional interruptions in the live stream. Please mail Senator assistants if you are hoping to speak with them before or after the committee, and that would be Emma Zellmer or Tessa Yeager. And thank you to our sergeant's office who are present for helping to maintain decorum in the committee hearing room. We are going to begin our presentation with Leslie Shirk, a special guest I invited in. Leslie is the principal of Columbia Academy in Columbia Heights. And as I've said many times, I kind of feel like my community that I represent, Columbia Heights and Fridley especially, have been the epicenter of the attacks on our community and the disruptions that have occurred, not just in our schools, in our family, in our businesses, and want to thank all of those that stood up and made a difference in our community by providing opportunities for kids to get to school, by walking them to school, by driving them to school. I think I shared with you that for pretty much all the month of January, I was out there every morning at one of my schools, watching and walking kids to school and getting a feel for what's going on in our community, and it was not pleasant, to say the least. And so I just want to say to Principal Shirk, thank you so much for all the work that you did in this. I know I saw you out there every morning, and your staff as well. So if you would just say your name for the record, and then you may begin.
Sure, absolutely. Leslie Shirk, principal of Columbia Academy in Columbia Heights. Good morning, Chair Kunish and members of this committee. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. Like I said, my name is Leslie Shirk. I'm the principal of Columbia Academy in Columbia Heights Public Schools. Our district serves approximately 3,400 students. I serve 720 middle school students, about half of whom are English language learners and many from immigrant families. I was asked to come and speak to you today a little bit about what's been going on from a district perspective, but also about attendance, enrollment, and funding in the wake of the ICE surge in the Twin Cities metro area, and how this compares and contrasts to the former crisis we had of COVID. In recent weeks, several of our school district students and families were pulled over on their way to school. Dozens of parents of our school district students were detained. 7 of our district students were detained, and 1 is still there in Texas. 6 were transported within hours to the Dilley Detention Center in Texas, where federal judges have since ordered many of these individuals returned to Minnesota, reinforcing that those detained were here legally and following the rules. But because of fear, the impact on attendance in our district has been immediate. Our district enrollment is actually down 165 students compared to last year, a decline that we directly linked to the surge because it was immediate. That loss equates for us in Columbia Heights to $2.5 million in revenue. At Columbia Academy, more than 200 students shifted to online learning solely out of fear, and across the district, we have 800 students enrolled online for the same reason. Now, during COVID, absences were tied to a public health crisis, and federal relief dollars followed. ESSER funds stabilized staffing and expanded the academic interventions and student mental health concerns that we had, because policymakers recognized that schools could not absorb that shock alone, and they were correct. Today, attendance has been disrupted again, but there are no stabilization funds attached. Enrollment loss reduces state funding immediately, yet ESSA accountability requirements remain unchanged. So unlike COVID, this crisis brings financial destabilization without relief in sight. At the same time, we face a $3.6 million reduction in compensatory revenue. Compensatory funding, as you know, has not kept pace with the concentrated need, but we also carry significant EL and special education cross subsidies. We are very proud to serve multilingual students and those who are receiving special education services in Columbia Heights. But those mandates are not fully funded, and they actually never were fully funded, as you well know. And when enrollment declines, the general fund shrinks, but those mandates remain unchanged, and the math, as you know, simply does not work. Additionally, as a principal, one daily concern for me is covering classrooms with substitute teachers. Family medical leave in this act is very important to our staff and families, but the funding to cover those substitute costs must be in place. Otherwise, it lands directly from classrooms. I am grateful, and I want to say that to this committee, for the inflationary adjustment mechanism and the 2.69% increase in the formula. That shows us that predictability matters, but predictability does not solve the volatility with this situation. Attendance is not just a number on a spreadsheet. It means a great deal. It also reflects whether families feel safe sending their kids to school. This has hit us and other districts in the metro especially hard. With COVID, we saw federal stabilization funds, but this crisis brings funding instability. We will continue to show up for our students, but in Columbia Heights, we can't absorb a $2.5 million loss in revenue plus a $3.6 million loss in compensatory funding while expanding services to students for the mental health concerns, but also academic recovery that we were on the road to. And our students deserve the stability in the systems that are designed to serve them. You have a big job right now with everything that's going on in our state and our country with public education. So I want to just make sure I thank you for your time as you consider your decision-making processes and your commitment to our students. And Senator Kunish, I want to say especially a thank you to you. You were out there on bitterly cold January mornings walking students across the street. And we very much appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Principal Shirk. It was probably the least that I could do at that time. So thank you all again, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, we are going to, question?
No, I don't have a question, Madam Chair. I just have some comments. I'm guessing we're probably going to hear a lot about immigration this session, and that makes sense because, you know, why would you want to talk about what happened to education the last 3 years when you can distract people by talking about immigration? The DFL trifecta passed over 60 unfunded mandates in 23 and 24. Let's not talk about how that is breaking our school. Let's talk about immigration. For example, the testifier just talked about dangerous schools. The DFL trifecta said now we can't suspend kids that are in 3rd grade or less, making the rest of our kids less safe and forcing schools to hire PSAs. This is an unfunded mandate. I know my school has had to hire a lot of PSAs because of the discipline problems, and they can't suspend these kids that are out of control. So let's not talk about that. Let's keep talking about immigration, about this one-time thing. Let's not talk about paid family leave. That's a new tax on our schools. that's causing dozens of our employees to be gone for much longer than they would have. Let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about unemployment for seasonal school employees that's funded from our education target. Hundreds of millions of dollars that would go directly to the formula to our schools to help with these budget problems. Let's not talk about that. The testifier mentioned compensatory funding. As a result of the free school lunch, we're not getting the data, and so we're not getting the compensatory information. So schools are losing money. I'm going to be clear. The DFL trifecta destroyed public education in Minnesota. They put more unfunded mandates on our schools than have ever been put on our schools in the past. And so I understand why they want to talk about immigration enforcement, because they don't want to talk about how they destroyed public schools in Minnesota. So let's keep talking about immigration, that's fine. But we also need to be reminded of the damage that the DFL trifecta did on every single school in the state of Minnesota. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. Well, we will continue to speak about what has happened in our schools, and perhaps that hasn't affected you in your district, but it has had an immense effect on the rest of us in this state. And unfortunately, we will have to discuss this, and we will have to deal with the fallout from all of this.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
And unfortunately, we will have to continue to speak on all of those items that you did. And I can sit here and defend what we have done in the last 4 years. We have done more for education than Republicans have done in decades. And so I'm not going to continue this conversation. We're going to move on. But we will be speaking about all of those items, but we will not forget the injustices that have happened in the last 2 months.
Thank you,
And
Madam
with
Chair.
that,
I'm just
we
going
are
to
going
add,
to continue
Madam Chair,
on
I'm just going
and
to add,
speak to,
my
and
school
I'm going to
is
invite
cutting $3
Angela
million.
Mansfield, the Assistant Commissioner
My school
from
is
the
cutting
Minnesota
$3 million
Department of
because of what the
Education to
DFL
front.
trifecta did.
Excuse me.
$3 million.
If you cannot behave appropriately, then you will be asked to leave. I'm glad you find that humorous.
It's running this committee like a kindergarten, Madam Chair.
Well, if there's kindergartners in here, then we'll treat you as such. All right, Angela Mansfield, Assistant Commissioner from the Minnesota Department of Education, if you would like to introduce yourself, and you may begin.
All right. Good morning, Madam Chair and committee. Good to be here this morning. I am playing with my glasses and trying to figure out which ones I can see with, so apologies for that. I appreciate the time to be able to provide this morning a comprehensive overview of the Compass attendance work, our statewide effort to strengthen student attendance through aligned guidance, professional learning, and responsive technical support. We'll go to the next slide. To start, Compass attendance exists to help every single district, charter school, and tribally controlled school in Minnesota improve student engagement and reduce chronic absenteeism. We're taking a systems approach, bringing tools, training, and expert consultation to the field so that local leaders have what they need to make attendance work both sustainable and equity-driven. Go ahead. We've built a statewide attendance support team using temporary funds to ensure capacity reaches the entire state. This team includes an MD attendance specialist and 4 temporary statewide attendance leads employed through the Minnesota Service Cooperatives, and they are available to provide guidance and technical assistance upon request. And you'll see those leads up on the screen right now. Those leaders, Greg Campbell is at the state at MDE. Jewel and Raymond are both at Brightworks. Amy is at Southwest West Central Service Cooperative, and Lee supports Northwest, Northeast, and Sourcewell. And while they're housed at specific service cooperatives, they also work collaboratively together when there are needs that extend beyond their personal service cooperative. So they aren't only housed just at their service cooperative. because we know these needs are statewide. This network ensures that we can respond quickly and consistently to local needs, and they're also equipped to provide districts and schools with real-time consultation, guidance, and alignment with Minnesota's compulsory instruction statute that ensures that their decisions are related to support that requirement for student instruction, which has been very timely in what we've been experiencing right now. This support is especially timely given the context and challenges districts and schools are navigating related to attendance, compliance, student re-engagement, and families making decisions about safety across the state. Central to our approach is the Compass Minnesota MTSS Attendance Guidebook, released October 31st last year. The guidebook distills evidence-based practices that support student attendance, outlines key actions for district leaders, school leaders, and teachers, and curates resources that can help implement these steps. It's designated to embed attendance within continuous improvement cycles, keeping culture and climate at the forefront. And this guidebook is used in tandem with our Minnesota MTSS framework that has also been written with the Compass team. Alongside the guidebook, we launched three professional learning pathways. We'll go to the next slide, sorry. During the 25-26 school years. Each offered free of cost and aligned to the Minnesota MTSS framework. These pathways include both fall and spring enrollment windows and pair structured learning with hands-on technical assistance for participating leadership teams. The goal is to ensure the professional development translates into practical district-level change. And when you look at your packet, these QR codes will take you to those professional development offerings. The first pathway, improving attendance utilizing the Minnesota MTSS framework, helps teams evaluate and strengthen the infrastructure that supports attendance within the Minnesota MTSS, integrate attendance into broader system cycles, and design proactive, culturally responsive family and community engagement strategies. It also focuses on belonging, engagement, and purpose for students, strategic use of data to identify trends and monitor implementation, and culminating action planning for sustainable, equity-driven improvement. In the most recent cohort, we welcomed 55 participants representing 16 districts across the state. The second pathway, building a strong attendance team, is designed to bolster the infrastructure of collaborative links teams so student attendance concerns are identified and addressed within the Minnesota MTSS structure. Teams establish clear protocols for using data, review trends, and monitor intervention impact while practicing root cause analysis to surface both systemic and individual barriers. A major emphasis is on culturally responsive communication that engages families as true partners. Participants have grown from 21 attendees from 4 districts in the fall and 53 attendees from 20 districts in the spring. The third pathway, data-driven attendance strategies, strengthens the use and accessibility of data supports, organizational and visual structures for data review, and guides teams through systemic protocols to identify group and individual patterns. From there, participants learn to pair strategies with insights from data and to integrate attendance information with academic and behavioral outcomes, both quantitative and qualitative. Attendance in this pathway has included 30 attendees representing 14 districts in the fall and 14 attendees representing 9 districts in the spring. And I want to pause real quick and just hope that you recognize through all 3 slides the emphasis on data has been so important because we have, through all our hearings that we've had about attendance, we've talked about data over and over again. And we're doing a lot of work at the state to recognize, or at MDE, to recognize what can we do better in the data that we have and being able to get that and work towards getting real-time data out to districts and schools. And we also recognize that districts and schools have data and the importance of them understanding the data that they hold within. And so really helping walk alongside them and seeing the power of local data that they have inside to be able to make really good decisions there. Across these pathways, 43 districts have been supported with 6 pilot districts engaging in deeper learning tied to our evolving statewide goals. I want to call your attention, we noticed this morning that there are 3 repeated districts in your slide package, so apologies for that. You can never be too perfect when you're getting things put together. For example, Burnsville participated in all 3 pathways. Minneapolis engaged in 2, and Northfield, Rochester, Sauk Rapids, Rice, and Wyndham each participated where it aligned with their local priorities. This mix illustrates how districts can tailor their engagement while still moving toward common statewide practices, and this is just the example of those pilots. Beyond structured learning, we offer flexible attendance support at no cost. Since launching, we've received 16 consultation requests, which have led to targeted technical assistance and, in many cases, enrollment in the pathways. The Compass attendance team has also responded to specific concerns raised by pilot districts, including questions about strategies to keep students connected during community hardship and flexible learning. I also want to call, you can stay here, Megan. I also want to call attention to the fact that the Compass attendance team, while on temporary dollars that we've figured out how to prioritize, it's mostly salary savings from Compass funds. We only started this Compass pathway of attendance in October. And so while the numbers may seem small, it is quite large if you consider that districts have only had this additional support since October of 2025. I would love to come back sometime and share more about the Compass statewide system so you can compare those numbers from literacy work, math work, climate and culture work, and you'll see for work that has been engaged in for over 2 years, to have these numbers already ticking up like they are right now for this attendance work is really a great sign of districts trusting and feeling and needing that support. Beyond the structured, we are advancing the statewide attendance pilot program in collaboration. Here we are co-developing common attendance definitions and coding standards, and based on pilot district feedback, offered a pathway series to support coding reporting and co-creating a model attendance policy. A draft model attendance policy was shared in February for discussion, and we continue to meet with pilot districts to refine guidance on definitions and coding. This work is building the consistency and clarity that districts need to implement attendance practices with confidence. A key component of improving attendance statewide is strengthening interagency collaboration. We're partnering with DCYF to co-develop a district, county, tribal communication model that supports required communication among these partners. We begin with listening sessions in February towards the end of the month, inviting key leaders to help identify needs and shape procedures that are practical, responsive in local contexts. Our reach is enhanced also through additional collaborations and partnerships. With Minneapolis Foundation, we participate in monthly convenings focused on mobilizing shared effort around attendance. With Minnesota Youth Council, we're connecting with student leaders who have chosen attendance and engagement as their central focus. Internally, we work across Compass teams, such as the American Indian Student Support Team and the Climate and Culture Team, to elevate evidence-based practices that directly address the needs of schools, identifying for continuous improvement in attendance. And on this slide, for quick access to help, we've launched the attendance inbox and maintain a Compass attendance webpage with key resources and updates. These channels ensure districts can request support, share questions, and access materials as they build their local systems. In closing, the Compass attendance effort reflects a coordinated statewide commitment, evidence-based guidance, free professional learning, responsive technical assistance, and stronger interagency partnerships, all aligned to help students belong, engage, and thrive. Thank you for the Senate's support of this work and for the continuous improvement being led in our schools and districts.
Thank you, Assistant Commissioner. This has been really helpful. My first question before I open it up to the rest of us, can you just talk a little bit about how the Minnesota Youth Council's voice is taken into consideration or is heard in this? I know that Senator Swedzinski and I like to really focus our work on the students, getting the students what they need and hearing the student voice. And so would you just share what the role of Minnesota Youth Council is in this process?
Yes, we're really excited. Oh, sorry, Madam Chair. We're really excited to get more engagement from the youth because we cannot create a comprehensive state plan around attendance, which is directly about our youth, without having the youth engaged. They know why they're not in school and why their peers are not coming to school. So when Greg Campbell, the lead at MDE, was hired, he made it a priority to reach out to the Youth Council, and it was a pleasant surprise to find out there were 3 representatives on the council that had this as their top interest. And they're all engaged in attendance in slightly a different manner of engagement. And I can get the how from Greg, and Megan can get that to you. And so he's working with them to figure out how we can best have them engaged so that it's not like just going to them for thoughts, but actually get them involved in process. Like, we want them more than just advisory, if that makes sense. Like actually coming and getting their hands dirty and rolling up sleeves and getting involved in part of the work, helping us frame, what it is, maybe helping us decide how we create teams at schools, and how we help districts understand how to stand things up at school, and that sort of work. We're also, Good Trouble is another organization that we've started dialoguing with to figure out how to stand things up at schools and districts. Don't have the exact answer yet, but we're in those preliminary talks.
Thank you. When you get that answer, share it with everyone because that will be the ticket. All right. Well, members, Senator Mayquade.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you so much for this presentation. It was really helpful. One thing we've talked about a lot in both this committee and education policy is that there is not a statewide shared definition of what absenteeism is. And I think that there was co-developing a common attendance definition. I was wondering if you could just update us about that and maybe what we as policymakers might be expecting this year to be able to do something. Is it next year? I just know that that's a really meaty topic.
Yes. Thank you, Senator Mayquade. That's work that is in the works with our wonderful pilot districts. It's great. It was a gift really to have that legislation bring an active group together and be able to have us come into that circle with them and hear what they're working on, and also provide us with a place to really have conversation and set some goals around coming together and saying, hey, here's what we have that's missing. Shared definition is one, also shared language around what are the codes that we need to be able to enter, and what should those mean for everyone, right? So we're calling an apple and we don't have 25 kinds of apples, right? And so that's also work that we're working on with the pilot groups. I know, and I know Colleen's right behind me, and she's probably staring at the back of my head right now. That's work that also I need to get with Greg and Colleen probably and understand what the timeline is on that and be able to get you more dates to be able to firmly answer that. But I know it's in process.
Anybody else have a comment or
Thank you.
question
I
about
cheated.
that? If Colleen wants to come up and speak, she sure can, but we can wait for that information too. Anyone else? All right. Well, thank you so much, Assistant Commissioner. Really appreciate all the work that you're doing on behalf of our students. And now we're going to have a brief overview of the 15-day drop from Kathy Erickson, if she'd like to join us. If you'd like to state your name and your position, and when you're ready, you may begin.
Good morning, Madam Chair. My name is Kathy Erickson. I'm the Director of School Finance at the Minnesota Department of Education. Thank you for the opportunity to provide some brief clarification on two items, the 15-day drop. With the 15-day drop, and then how our funding works in relation to pupil estimates. So when we think about the school year, think about the instructional calendar. So on average, we see schools and charters have maybe approximately 165 days in their instructional calendar. When we use attendance as a measure, it would be days not attending on those instructional calendar days. So once a student has had 15 consecutive days of non-attendance, their MARS file gets a status end date of the 15-day drop, and then their file ends until they re-enroll, whether that's in their school that they were in, or it could be in another public school in Minnesota. Once that information becomes available through the district who might re-enroll themselves or another district, then that status end code is changed, so it represents where they have now potentially re-enrolled. So for the 15-day drop for understanding, those files then get a code that is done locally at the site where the student is enrolled, and then those get uploaded to the Department of Education on a scheduled timeline. One thing we want to make sure folks are aware of is that for us right now, for fall, we had the last reporting on January 6th. So for fall information and fall student count, it was January 6th. Our next reporting timeline is going to be March 12th, when districts will submit for the first time for what we call end of year. Obviously, we're not at the end of year yet, but those start that system approach, which is approximately monthly, all the way then until November of this year for fiscal year 26 that we're in right now. So we just want folks to know that we do not currently have any specific 15-day drop data right now, but when we do our first statewide edit, which will be in April, we will be able to provide more information on what information has been submitted by our LEAs, districts, charters, and others, and we'll be able to have that information available. Should I pause if there's questions about the 15-day drop?
Members, anyone have a question on the 15-day drop? Senator Swedzinski.
Thanks for coming in. Thank you, Madam Chair. I haven't heard a definition of a day yet. If on a 4-period day, if a kid misses first hour for 15 days, is that 15 days of school? But if they're coming for the other 2 or 3 classes they maybe have, are they still a student, or how is day defined in stat? I don't know. I'll let you answer. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Director Erickson.
Madam Chair, Senator, the definition of attendance is local. Each individual district or charter defines what is a daily attendance. It could be just the reporting in and being there means that they have attended for that day, but that is a local definition at the district or charter level.
Follow-up?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So if a kid is called in and excused, are they not attending? Or is this up to local control? Okay, wow, interesting. Okay, thank you.
And I think we have another speaker to speak. Assistant Commissioner Mansfield. Go ahead.
Making a guest appearance.
Thank you.
You're right. So the state statute says that districts or schools have to take attendance one time per day. The definition of what that one time is locally set. So you'll see in districts, it could be the full day, it could be half day, it could be the hour. How they set it is by the local set. What you just said, the compulsory instruction bill that we have, it could be that how the school engages with the student is how they're going to determine attendance. So if a student is sick at home and a teacher goes to deliver some instruction at home, they might determine that as being in session for school.
Follow-up?
No, thank you.
Yep.
Any question? Senator Mayquade?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I think and in full disclosure, I'm going to have a bill related to the 15-day drop for the 25-26 school year coming, because I just think that with these myriad definitions and the widespread disruptions, I just don't know if this year is the year to be like, and we're holding you to the 15-day drop rule. But I guess I'm wondering, like, do we have a sense of the number of students who would be impacted by 15-day drop, who haven't re-enrolled somewhere else, or like who would be considered, I think there's like unaccounted for, I think is what it's called. Do we have a sense of that right now? And do you know what the number is?
And who would like to?
I do have a slide that at the best, no, I'm sorry, Senator Mayquade, at the best time, what we had received in the unaccounted for student form. It wasn't shown in the deck, but I have that slide. I'd have to get it on my computer to be able to look at it and let you know. So if you give me a second, I can go get that information and bring it up.
Definitely, if you'd like
Okay.
to do that, that'd be wonderful.
And Madam
Yeah.
Chair.
Senator Mayquade?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And if you know the comparison for it, like, is it expected or unexpectedly high, low? That's also the part of the data I would love to.
Senator Mayquade, we haven't yet gotten, Hennepin County is going, because of the, thank you so much, Megan, because of the amount of students in the districts they serve, they are going to be providing us with one single spreadsheet instead of going in student by student, and so we haven't received that yet. So I think the numbers will increase dramatically, and we just spoke with them yesterday. So the numbers are going to increase dramatically from what we currently have. I do know that. So
All right.
give me a minute and I'll let Kathy go.
Yep, if you want to take a quick look, and then Kathy, if you'd, or excuse me, Director Erickson, if you'd like to continue.
Madam Chair and members, I do want to provide just a little clarification that there's the report that Angela speaks about, and then there's the MARS reporting from the school finance perspective, which is the MARS file and the 15-day drop. So what we get from a school finance perspective that we use for funding, those reporting submissions that we get might be not exactly in alignment with how Angela and her team receive those other reports that she'll share. So I just want to make folks aware that there may not be identical forms because we use the MARS system and the student file system to collect the 15-day drop data, and then there's a separate reporting system to track those students at a district level. I hope that helps with some clarification.
So, Director Erickson, did you have a follow-up or question? So if the district is doing their thing and the state is doing their thing, how do we get that full actual picture? Or does it just take a while to trickle down and shake out and then you're able to compare that? And is that perhaps part of an issue that needs to be corrected? Go ahead, Assistant Commissioner Mansfield.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think it's a yes and. This is the 15-day drop legislation that passed last session is new, and so there's timing of letting that get in play and having districts report consistently. As of yet, the last poll of the data, only 6 LEAs had reported one or more students. 36 total students had been reported using that unaccounted for student form. And we noted that only 13 of those 36 students were for this current school year. 20 of those students were for the last school year, 24-25, and 3 students were reported for school years before that. And all of the students reported for prior school years came from one LEA, so they were catching up from before. Of those 13 students reported, only 5 were reported to fall MARS. So I say that to say, like, we're not in this cycle yet of this being a normal reporting structure for districts and schools yet. I also want to say that we're in the process at MDE, our data practices and analytics team is modernizing our data, our EdFi data system, and that's going to really change things on a sidebar from the MARS system on how we can look at real-time data. Regardless of what school information system that our districts have, it's going to allow us to really sync and look at real-time attendance data with some of the apps that we're going to put in play in that system, which is going to give us a chance to like have these kind of conversations in a much better way than we ever have been able to. And so MARS will exist as it does right now, but we're going to be able to talk about real attendance information in a way that's going to reshape this conversation.
And what would the timeline be for that? Like, when will that kick in and you'd be able to get that real-time info?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have an RFP that's about to go live, and then once we close that process, I mean, that usually takes 6 months or so. Once we close that process, it probably in the next year to get that up and running and then movement forward. But we have, EdFi is not something that will be brand new. We already have the base of that going. So it's not something that's going to take forever to get moving.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Oh, Senator Gustafson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm having flashbacks of being a high school social studies teacher right now and taking attendance so I have 2 questions. One question was, we were required to take attendance every day at the top of the hour, and I taught, there were 7 periods, 1 prep hour, so 6 classes a day. Maybe I misunderstood you. Are you saying it's not required for them to take attendance? I'm thinking high school. Elementary is a little different. Like a high school student or high school, do they not have to take attendance at the top of every class? Is that not required by the state?
Thank you, Senator Gustafson. The requirement is attendance to be taken 1 time per day. That's the state requirement. So anything outside of that is locally determined. Excuse me.
Senator Gustafson?
Madam Chair, I'm seeing people in the crowd shaking their heads, so I could follow up offline and find out a little bit more information about that. But that's something that, I mean, just as being in the classroom for so long, I had questions on about accountability. We were all, I mean, just to go into a little bit more detail, we would take attendance at the top of each hour. If we didn't have attendance in within 15 minutes, our front desk would call us and say, you know, Mrs. Gustafson, you need to get your attendance in, which would happen. I wasn't perfect. But so that, I can get clarification from that later. The other thing I was going to ask you about is the statute 126C.05, subdivision 11. And I can give you a second to pull that up. But it's about average daily membership, justifiable cause, and strikes excluded. Are you guys set? I don't, okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. So the question was, there's a part of it here that says, maybe it's easier to just read through it and then get to the question. Notwithstanding subdivision 8 cases when school is in session, but pupils are prevented from attending for more than 15 consecutive school days during the regular school year or 5 consecutive school days during summer school or intersession classes of flexible year programs because of epidemic, calamity, weather, fuel shortage, and here's where the question comes in, or justifiable cause, the commissioner upon application may allow the district to continue to count these pupils in average daily membership. So my question is around application. What does an application look like? Can you tell me the process of what that would look like for a school, for a family, whoever it affects?
And who would like to respond to that? Mr. Uni?
Madam Chair, thank you. Senator Gustafson. So that process is around ADM, around funding question, not around whether the student is dropped or not dropped. What we're focused on, I think, for student attendance and actually whether they maintain on the rolls is really around that statute that Assistant Commissioner Mansfield referenced that came into play last session, right? Instruction, supervision, or services. And what we've come up with in collaboration with Compass and several other teams is around the flexible learning options that we're shedding a light on, that districts have the authority to then utilize the statute to implement local control and their strategies around how to connect with students, whether it be online learning, whether it be in-person services directly to the student and their family at their home, whether it be out in the field where maybe it feels safer for a family to visit with somebody from the school district. So if we're talking about kind of the attendance, the roles, that statute that you reference is more about the ADM generating funding. And that's, I think, what Director Erickson was getting into. I think she may have a little bit more about how that process works. But there's two sides to the coin, and that one's around funding. When we're focused on the 15-day drop, it's the statute that we referenced that passed last year that's very helpful about clarifying when a student is counted as attendance. It's around instruction, the traditional instruction, supervision, and then around receiving services.
Go ahead, Senator.
I was just going to say no follow-up, but thank you.
So I'm going to follow up on that one. So if there is a district that has a catastrophe and they want to, and they want to move to an alternative school day, what is the process? Like, is there an application? I know that the governor was able to pivot very quickly and allow the school districts to create, alternative learning opportunities so that 15-day drop didn't affect their school districts. If there is like a really specific, there was a flood or a catastrophe somewhere, and schools needed to pivot to an alternative way of addressing education. Is there a process? Is there an application?
So, Chair Kunish, yeah, I think what you're referencing are the set of executive orders that created distance learning back in 2020. I think it's important to note where we were then and where we are now with our statutes. I think in 2020, we had a limited set of LEAs. I think charters were always allowed, but traditional districts that were allowed to be online learning providers. And that is really kind of the traditional, now what we think of as traditional core of providing that flexible learning option. There are other models. There's in-person services, but what the legislature did in 2023 is passed a law that was the Online Learning Act, and that allowed all LEAs to automatically be online learning providers to their enrolled students. They still have to go through an application process to be supplemental learning providers, which is to unenrolled students for maybe a class here or there, or more classes are non-enrolled. But for their enrolled students, they are online learning providers just automatically. We have shifted from an approval model to a support model and technical assistance model. So many LEAs are set up, at varying degrees, but are set up to provide those kind of that core of the flexible learning model. And then we have been releasing recently more information on flexible learning models where districts can utilize their local tools as well as what flows out of statute. I don't know, Assistant Commissioner Mansfield, if you had anything you wanted to add there on the flexible learning.
Not necessarily, Madam Chair, on flexible learning. I did pull up the guidance, though, that we sent out to districts and schools. That includes what Adosha's talking about on flexible learning. We did also talk about attendance considerations in that guidance. And directly there, it says that schools are required to report attendance at least once a day. Okay. And so that would include at any level within the school system, that's once a day that they have to take that attendance.
Great. Senator Mayquade?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm wondering if I could ask council for something?
Sure.
Would you be able to point me to the statutes that govern attendance taking by districts and reporting to the state? I'm trying to find it, and I'm not finding it. Thank you. Oh, maybe I just
As soon as you ask, you found it?
No, it looks like our.
Senator Mayquade
go ahead.
And Madam Chair, I have them right here because I pulled up that guidance, so I don't know how to get them to you.
Do you want to just say them out loud?
I can, yes. Minnesota State Statute 120A.22, subdivision 13.
Thank you.
There's 3 of them.
Ms. Lewis, is that what you got as well?
Madam Chair and members, yes, that's the sub 13 is the new one that was enacted last session. Okay. And I think she said there's a couple more.
Yeah, then there's sub 13A. Sub 12. And sub B through D.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anything else, Senator?
Thank you.
Okay. And then I have one last question. If there are districts that have lost students to that 15-day drop, when would aid payments in that district be affected or reduced? Go
Madam
ahead.
Chair, so right now, as our aid calculations are done, we do an initial calculation based on estimates from our LEAs. So we do not have any actual student data yet, so we ask them to submit data. At the end of December, beginning of January, we freeze the amount that we use to calculate the entitlements for the rest of this fiscal year. So if districts or charters or others are seeing loss of students in real time due to the 15-day drop, that will not recalculate our aids until we do end of year, which we start in August of each year. So from a cash flow perspective, we do not recalculate the aids and recalculate the payments, but districts should be aware that we are using those estimates from early January. So if they are seeing differences, they'll just want to note that for when they get their final reconciliation.
So will Will there be any, I know we have the 90-10 distribution, so could there be financial consequences next year because of any of these drops?
Madam Chair, if there is a reduction in overall ADM, regardless of what causes that, whether it's a 15-day drop or another file that is less than a full year, those do get recalculated. And part of the reason we have the 90-10 and we withhold the 10% is that if we have adjustments, we may just not pay out that 10%, and they'll have what they have in terms of their adjustments. But if their adjustments are greater than the 10% hold that we do for those final cleanup payments, we would do reductions to the next fiscal year 27 entitlements to clear up that we basically did an overpayment during the fiscal year that we were in. So there will always be a reconciliation to the actual ADM.
And that would occur when?
That would happen at the end of, cleanup will finally happen. It starts in August, will end in January of the next year.
Senator Swedzinski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to thank, my head's spinning right now. I have taught for 33 years, and I never knew attendance was so complicated. But I do have one question, because I don't envy your positions on trying to navigate the terrain here on this topic. But so if I'm, and it's not about the money, it's about the kids, and we want them in school, so I understand that. So I don't want to come across as caring about the per pupil unit, per pupil student formula. But if a child is taking school online for whatever reason, a wide variety of reasons, and they choose to not go to school for a couple days because they're taking it online and, for whatever reason, how does that attendance work into the grand scheme of things? Do they on school, kids have to click a attendant? Okay, you got my question. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And we had a verbal affirmation from Director Erickson that would be the process. We have one more question, Senator Gustafson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think I'm still just stuck back in my classroom at Centennial High School right now, and I'm still curious about, you're saying that the state is only requiring attendance to be taken once a day. And then each school can do it as they see fit at their school site. Am I hearing your answer correctly? And then I can ask my question.
Thank you, Senator Gustafson. It's at least once a day.
Continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, I mean, again, we were really, really strict about it and making sure that students, and, maybe high school, but it's a safety thing too. I mean, students should be where they think, or where they're supposed to be, where their parents think they're supposed to be. So I'm just wondering, because it does say here that a student who has been absent from school for 15 consecutive days during the regular school year, that part we've covered. But then it goes on to talk a little bit more about what truancy looks like. A student is considered a student who is absent from school without valid excuse within a single school year for 3 days if they're in elementary school. But then it says 3 or more class periods if the child is in middle school, junior high school, or high school, which is essentially why, it was so imperative that I take attendance at the top of the hour. So does that need to be reconciled, or maybe I'm just misunderstanding the statute?
Thank
Commissioner
you,
Mansfield.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Gustafson, that's why it's so important, the work that the pilot group or pilot schools and our team on the Compass team is doing to come up with a statewide definition. It's so vastly different, even the question you're asking, but then how it looks from your school that you taught at Centennial to Washburn, where I graduated from Washburn High School in Minneapolis. It's so vastly different from school to school, district to district. We need to be able to count apples to apples to understand what does chronic absenteeism look like in our state, and what mechanisms, what interventions, what do we need to do as a state to decrease what it is? So you're highlighting the importance of this issue right here. Thank you.
Any follow-up?
Well, yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I think and I could do this offline. I guess I hear what you're saying about the requirement for once a day, but then the statute says something different. So it sounds like we need to just square those up. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And last question, Senator Clark.
Thank you, Chair. And I think what Senator Gustafson's describing is how we recognize all the work that our teachers need to do in the classroom. Quick question of making sure we're getting good, solid data and that we are sending funds where they need to be sent. Question for Kathy Erickson. Is the February forecast that your office is going to be releasing, will that account for any changes in ADM that we've seen through what date?
Director Erickson.
Thank you.
The February forecast is using data from the end of fall of '26. We do not have any end of year, and then we use that as baseline for forecasting for future years.
Senator Clark.
Chair Kunish, what is end of fall?
The data that has been submitted as of January 6th, 2026.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very, very much for sharing with us all this valid information. It helps to, we have a lot more questions, but it also answered quite a few of them. So really appreciate you taking your time and energy to bring this to us in real time. So we are going to move on to the Hennepin County Be at School program. And Ms. Hightower, if you would like to join us here. If you have any guests that you want to join, they can.
Just me today.
All right. Please introduce yourself for the record, and you may begin.
Yes, I'm going to share my computer. Let's see if I got us up there. Share. All right. Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Ashley Hightower. I'm with the Be at School program, which is Hennepin County's Ed Neglect and Truancy program. Like I've stated before, we are Minnesota's largest truancy and ed neglect program. Currently, we are at 5,567 referrals. That is of a minute ago, I just checked. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak about attendance and how it is affecting our students and just kind of the state of attendance right now. I am going to be going over our current practices, so the 15-day drop mandate, our county programming. I'm also going to ask for some legislative recommendations, so access to real-time data systems, attendance media campaign, and an interagency council on student attendance. All right, here we go. I'm going to walk you through this map. So what you see here is my 15-day drop enrollment map, and I don't know. Let's see if my mouse will cooperate. It's a little bit behind. So as you can see, we start at the school. We move over to the calendar. A student has missed 15 consecutive days, which we have just been talking about. That student is dropped from enrollment. If the student is not reported to the county, once the student is dropped, they become a habitual truant or a student in need of protections. This is supposed to be reported to the county. If the student is not reported to the county, it gets collected in these reports that we were just talking about that are collected, I believe they said October and December. Those reports go to MDE, and we are unaware of the follow-up of that student. So that's route 1 15-day drop students can take. Route 2, our most common route, or the practice that we have been using, when a student is dropped from enrollment, they're reported to the county or Be at School if your student lives in Hennepin County. Right now, we have 517 students, as you can see that arrow coming down, who have been 15-day dropped from enrollment directly reported to our program. What we do at Be at School is we connect our students to a community agency. There's new legislation that was passed that states that every student must work with a welfare agency prior to child protection or court. This has been Be at School's practice since our program started. So we connect to a community agency. Best case scenario, we shoot over to that enrollment, right? We get our students enrolled. Be at School, our agency workers, when they're assigned, they have to conduct 3 outreaches, so phone calls, letters, emails, and they also have to do a house visit before they end services with this family. Per statute, when our school staff have to do outreach, the only thing that is required is a 3-day letter. So right now, currently our schools don't have any mandates saying what they have to do to find a student before their 15-day drop. So that's our regular route. So let's say our agencies aren't able to reach the family, we get no contact. And with Hennepin County, what we do next is then we send it over to Child Protection. And so Child Protection has the ability to open a child protection investigation on the student for ed neglect or truancy, for being a habitual truant and being unenrolled from school. Only once we open a investigation can our Child Protection reach out to the Minnesota Department of Education. And what we're doing is we're reaching out to the Mars Department to see if this student is enrolled. So that is that process. After we reach out, again, we are unaware of the follow-up. My final route that 15-day drops can take, so they get dropped. Let's say the school doesn't report it to the county. Now with our new legislation, counties have access to this list of students who are not in compliance. And so schools can send us this report. And so right now we had over 1,000+ students that are coming through this secondary channel or this report. Again, they come to Be at School, we assign to a community partner. This time, if we have no contact per the statute, it's asked to go back to the school. So we update the school that we weren't able to find that student. And then the school has to fill out another form online, which goes to MDE. And then again, we are unaware of the follow-up that happens. So I will also update you that from December to February of this year, we have had 116 students that have been named as 15-day dropped that came through that Be at School channel, not the separate report channel. Last year at that time period, we had 40. So that is a large increase of drop students that we're seeing from December to February. I will also name that this report that we added into our statute, it was pulled from Indiana code, so other states are also seeing this as well. The reason that we looked into this is because counties weren't getting that list. We weren't able to do any outreach, and at the county level, we have the ability to do those house visits, find those families, look at other systems that we have, where are they living, who are their emergency contacts. It's our duty as the county to find those students who are in need of protection. So, carrying on, we have this huge clump of students, right, that are unaccounted for. And this is just speaking on Hennepin County. This is a statewide process. And so with working with the department, we had a really nice meeting yesterday, and we are just recognizing that, yes, we are losing kids, right? And so that is my first slide. Does anybody have any questions before I keep moving, because this slide has a lot, kind of our process.
Looks not. You may continue.
All right. Okay, so the first area of focus is obviously this 15-day drop that I've been talking about. I already stated we had an increased number of students due to the metro surge. And then the next question we have is, who's following up with these students? Is it the school? The school does not receive funding once that student is unenrolled. Is it the county? The county can only provide services if we know about those students, or is it MDE in the state? And so we need to have these conversations about who is going to follow up with these students. And then also, we're still waiting to hear how many students are missing, right? We don't have that real-time data. Which leads to, just our next kind of phase here is the need for real-time data systems. We need enrollment data available at the school, county, and state level. When we receive this master, this broad list, this superintendent list, I believe it might be called. We're finding that even within districts, schools are reporting that to us, but maybe they're in a different school in that district, or maybe they're in a different school in another district. But because these systems aren't talking, what happens is we get the report, we can't find the student, we send it to child protection, we have to open up an investigation. Now the family is in the system, and because we don't have real-time data and updates, it might look like the student is not enrolled when really they are. So early entry into the system is happening. We also need communication channels from county to county regarding attendance histories and interventions. We have no place right now that says student A was enrolled in a St. Paul school, they've missed X amount of days, we've tried this with the student. If that student moves to Hennepin County, we don't have any of that access. What happens is they start over with truancy and ed neglect at the school that they're at. So we may have kids, you know, in December who have missed the entire school year, but we don't know about it because we don't have any of that information or prior, you know, things that have been tried and to help that student. So what we're asking for is an attendance media campaign. And I know this is a bill that Representative Green is working on. We just need that cohesive communication to families and schools and counties regarding attendance. There's a lot of bad language and shaming language going on in the attendance world in our statutes, specifically to our students. Like I said before, the 3-day letter is the only notification a family has to receive from a school about their attendance. So we need marketing, we need strength-based community-focused approaches. Like I said before, we had new statute that allows for local welfare agencies to intervene prior to child protection and truancy court. We also need student voice. We just had an update on the Minnesota student surveys, so the 2025 results are back. Our 5th, 8th, 9th, and 11th graders, their top results for unexcused absences, because there's excused and unexcused on there. Our students felt very sad, hopeless, anxious, stressed, and angry. They didn't get enough sleep, and they didn't want to go to school. This was top for every single grade. We need to look at this data and really talk to our students. We also know that this is a family solution. So we start looking at sibling sets. Right now we have 864 sibling sets referred to truancy. Last year we had 1,700. So we know that this is a family issue, and our families need support as well. The next thing that we're asking for is an interagency council on student attendance, and this is a bill that currently Representative Keeler is working on, and this is going to bring together attendance-involved entities to address the causes of chronic absenteeism. So we're talking about the department, DCYF, public safety, transportation, counties, school boards. We need IT. We've heard a lot about data. We need all of these folks to come together to the room to talk about attendance. We need them to make recommendations for policy and funding changes to improve attendance. This council would also be essential for coordinating cross-agency support to help kids, families, and the community really recover from the immigration disruptions, because we're going to have to make some changes due to that as well. I know that there was a student attendance study group that took place, and we made really good headway. And by headway, I mean attendance is being recognized. So we're taking the first steps in addressing this issue. I strongly believe we'll continue to lose students through the cracks if our systems continue to work siloed and if we don't start collaborating. So in short, again, what I'm asking you to do and asking for our help is to review and address the 15-day drop mandate, advocate for real-time data systems, support the attendance media campaign bill, support the Interagency Council on Student Attendance, those two bills. And again, thank you for your time and commitment to our Minnesota students. I hope this presentation leaves you curious and hungry for change at the attendance level. Be It School remains committed to working collaboratively with schools to support students whose attendance may be affected, not only by the immigration-related disruptions, but by everyday life. We want to reaffirm that schools play a critical role as safe, supportive environments for all students. Thank you again, and I will take any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Hightower. Members, are there any questions? Well, you did such a thorough job of it. Really appreciate your sharing and the hard work that you've all been putting into the, getting our kids back into school and, just identifying those students that seem to be slipping through the cracks in the family. And now Senator Mayquit has a question. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Going back to your map, you talked about these two paths, and one of them is a referral to child protection, and then one of them is like this subsequent list. What is the difference between those? Why is there a referral and then why is there a list? What is the difference between those populations?
Ms. Hightower?
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Are you talking about this part right here where there's 517 versus the 1,000 students? Or down here when we refer to child protection or it goes back up to the school?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think that one, because you had said like there's two ways that we're getting this information, and one is from the school and then this another one's the list, and I'm just wondering why those are different.
Ms. Hightower?
Thank you. And so the traditional model following statute would be to report those 15-day drops to the county. Due to the new legislation that was passed, because we weren't receiving those, and we understand that there are several other students that have been 15-day drop that haven't been communicated. Now we're able to gather that student information and do work based off of that report. We're finding that there's a plethora of reasons why students aren't being reported, whether it's from their leadership telling them not to report, lack of ability to report, they don't have the staffing, and just general awareness of what happens when a student is dropped. I don't want the student to fall through the cracks.
Philip?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Maybe, I'm more like pondering out loud. Are you finding that there's commonalities between those that are reported and those that aren't, whether it's the school that they're located in or the age that they are or the reason why they're gone, or, are there just commonalities between those pools, the people who are in them?
Ms. Hightower?
Yeah, thank you, Senator. It varies district to district. It depends on the resources that district has available. I know that Minneapolis supports the We Want You Back program, which is funded through their own district, so they have resources allocated to work on those students who are 15-day dropped. So I know when I'm getting a student from that district that there's already been some pretty significant work in looking for that student. We also have other districts that there's communication issues within the district, so that list may be us just kind of being detectives and figuring out, is the student really enrolled?
Philip?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And then my last question is, does Hennepin County have a definition of dropped, or are you relying on the school to say, based on what we count as attendance, they're dropped? And do you see the differences? Like maybe in one district, it's like they were absent 15 times for this one period, but they were present at the rest of school, or are you finding that the differences in attendance taking is making a difference in your work?
Ms. Hightower?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, that is one of the big issues that we're seeing. So we don't have any jurisdiction of what schools consider excused versus unexcused. I mean, we work off of the term unenrolled. When a student is unenrolled, not dropped, that's when we have child protection can be involved. But in saying that, we have schools who now have switched to online, and a kid's getting close to that 15-day drop, let's check in with them one time online, and that resets the 15-day drop clock. We also have students and families who are really good, right? They get to day 14. I'm going to show up in class, so I'm not 15-day dropped. So we kind of have this working system around the 15-day drop, all these different avenues and revenues that students and schools are taking, because the statute is a little fuzzy, as we're finding out.
Thank you. Well, thank you again. No more questions for Ms. Hightower. All right. Thank you again for presenting with us and the work that you do.
Thank you.
You bet. So our final presentation is from the Student Attendance Pilot Program conveners. Members, we will work to have more of the individual participants in a future hearing date since they were unavailable today. But we have a great team here to share with us. Let's see here. Director of Student Retention and Recovery from the Minneapolis Public Schools, Colleen Cabell, if you would like to begin, introduce yourself.
Good morning, Madam Chair. I'm Colleen Keibel. I'm the Director of Student Retention and Recovery in Minneapolis Public Schools. And if it's okay, I'm actually going to deviate a little bit from the information that you were given on my presentation because of time. So we were prepared to share information for about an hour, and we're a little short on that. So what I'd like to do today is start where we've kind of ended with the attendance coding and subcommittee, which is part of the pilot because it addresses many of the things that we've had conversation about this morning. And then I have a group of folks from our Minneapolis Public School District attendance pilot that are here to share information. And hopefully in the near future, we can have the 11 other districts here to present their own work rather than me going over their work for you. But if time allows at the end, I'm happy to go through those slides. Excuse me. So a subcommittee of 7 pilot districts, along with MDE Compass representation, was created to review current processes and to develop recommendations on attendance policies and attendance taking. Our committee meets monthly. So the purpose and scope of the subcommittee that we settled on was really to increase the accuracy and reliability of attendance reporting. So what is an absence and what is an exempt absence, which actually isn't an absence. If you're exempt, you're counted as present, but perhaps you're on a field trip or other in another area of the building with the school nurse, social worker, counselor. You are in a district-related activity, or in Minneapolis, we allow if our bus does not show up to pick you up, you are exempt, versus if you are supposed to get on Metro Transit to get to school and you miss your bus, you are absent. So if it's a district issue that prevents you from getting to school, you are exempt. Or if you're on a field trip in a social worker's office, et cetera. But what we found in some of our other pilot districts is some of the districts were counting a doctor's note as an exempt coding absence, which is not, again, counted as an absence. We also looked at the number of absences for the secondary level. What is a full day? What is a half day absence? And what we have found is that throughout the pilot districts, folks are coding half day and full day absences, or counting, I should say, very differently. So in one district, you may miss 2 periods at the secondary level, which could be about 2 hours, and you're a half day absent. And at 4 periods, you're a full day absent. Where in another district, unless you miss every period all day long, you're not absent until that point, and then you're a full day absent. So we have found just just a huge difference in how we're coding and counting. And I would say more emphasis on the counting than coding. The biggest issue with coding, whether it's excused or unexcused, is pretty much in alignment across the districts. It's where we count exempts, and we're really feeling we need clarity on what is an exemption. What do we count as a student not being in the building, but yet being counted as present? And so we want to work to improve the data comparability across all districts in the states so that we can ensure equitable treatment in coding for all students. And this should align with attendance coding with state accountability systems. We want to compare apples to apples, as was discussed earlier this morning. So one of our key findings does indicate that districts need really clear guidance on attendance recording procedures, particularly regarding how to classify exempt absences and determine when missed instructional time constitutes a tardy versus an absence. Additionally, there's ambiguity in the current state statute which defines exemption. So that clarity on that would be very helpful. And then in response, a draft attendance policy is being developed to strengthen the comparability of attendance outcomes across the district and to improve the reliability and equity of attendance as a statewide accountability measure. So I'll start by, sorry, it was the last one.
Oh, at the very end?
Mm-hmm. So, but I believe you have the handout with that information. Going back. There we go. So that is the work that's being done on our subcommittee. I will say our We Want You Back team was mentioned by Ms. Hightower earlier. In Minneapolis, we do have a team that's dedicated to respond to 15-day drops. It's a small team, a small but mighty team. All but 2 of them are here this morning. And they have had 1,599 15-day drops to date in our district, and most of those students we do have accounted for and re-enrolled. We've got just about a third that we are still continuing to work with, and we never close those cases. So when we start working with a student and we're unable to either confirm enrollment elsewhere or get that student re-enrolled in our district or another district, they don't time out. We continue to work with them. In June, when our team takes off for the summer, when they come back in the fall, they get back to those drops that we were not able to get re-enrolled or confirm re-enrollment with. So I will move on from the attendance coding and counting subcommittee and look directly at the Minneapolis Public Schools implementation of the model, of our pilot model. So our
Ms.
model.
Kybel, you know you do have till 10:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, but we've got a lot to share.
Okay.
So, and I want to make sure we get through that, and then I'll come back with the other pilot information if we have
Sounds
time
good.
at the end. So in Minneapolis with our pilot, what we're really looking at is a strength-based approach using a prevention-focused attendance framework. So instead of waiting until students are exhibiting chronic absenteeism, that we're identifying measures for early identification and early support. So looking away from a failure-first model to a proactive problem-solving approach. We want to foster the development of family partnerships to create ongoing collaboration and address student attendance and engagement. And one of the things we know throughout our pilot is many of the districts are using really low-impact, low-cost activities to get to notify families of student absenteeism. So things like nudge letters, robocalls, things like that, very low cost, very affordable, but very little impact on notifying the family, making contact with the family and building that relationship. So we're really working on fostering that. And to do that, we have to support our schools. So to make sure that they've got the tools they need to prioritize early positive outreach with students and with families. And we want to bring student voice to the forefront by identifying causes and create solutions to increase attendance. And I want to share at part of our pilot at the tier 1 level, we have student-led attendance teams, and they're at all grade bands. So from elementary, middle school, and high school, we've got teams of students that are meeting on a regular basis to talk about absenteeism, talk about school engagement, talk about the climate of their building, what makes school fun, what brings you to school every day, why do you think your peers aren't here? And our student-led attendance team at Roosevelt High School earlier this year applied for a grant from the Partnership for Student Success. And this is out of Johns Hopkins University, and every year they have this grant for schools, districts, community agencies to apply for through the Leon Lewandowski Foundation. And our student-led attendance team at Roosevelt decided they were going to apply for a grant because they want to do outreach with their peers. They want to go to every middle school in Minneapolis Public Schools and talk to the middle school students about the importance of what you're doing in middle school and how it applies to high school. Your attendance, your academic performance, your credit accumulation. They want to have some heart-to-heart talks. And I want to say that that team is made up of students who were identified because of their own attendance struggles. So this isn't a team that lacks empathy. They know where these students are, the shoes they are in, these students have worn. And so they wrote this grant to the Partnership for Student Success, looking for support to do outreach to the middle school. So it includes everything from transportation to get to the middle schools to swag to hand out. They wanted some better paper to print posters on, things like that. They wanted some swag for their own team and the teams to come after them so they can probably wear their Roosevelt student-led attendance team attire around the building. And there were over 700 applications for that grant, and 20 were awarded, and 1 was awarded to Minneapolis Public High School, Roosevelt High School attendance team. So really exciting to see how serious students take their task when they're given the opportunity to really provide information, be thoughtful, thought partners with us, and come up with activities and solutions to build a stronger school climate and increase student attendance. We also are working on creating a bank of evidence-based practices. One of the things we found district-wide as we were deciding on what are we going to do with our pilot dollars, what's going to make a difference, how do we make this local? It's really hard to find evidence-based practices. There are a number of websites you can go to. The U.S. Department of Education What Works Clearinghouse is a really common one, but a lot of work to go through these practices to find what's going to work locally, what's going to work in your school for your age level, for the community you serve. So we're working on creating an internal MPS bank of interventions for our schools. Specific to everything from the grade level that, elementary, middle school, high school, to the area of the city that they're in. And also establishing a district-wide commitment, realizing that everyone, all of our district staff, our schools, our families, county agencies, all of our community partners play a vital role in supporting student attendance. And with that, we're going to have Melissa from our team. We're going to talk a little bit more about our Tier 3 implementation of our pilot in Minneapolis.
Thanks, Colleen. Good morning. My name is Melissa Winship. I'm a school counselor with Minneapolis Public Schools. This year, as part of the state attendance pilot, I joined our Student Retention and Recovery Department, where I work closely with students and families experiencing chronic absenteeism. After school-based attendance teams have implemented initial interventions, they refer students to me for more intensive individualized support. In this role, I provide in-depth case management to identify and address the underlying barriers preventing consistent attendance. The most common challenges I encounter include school-related anxiety, transportation barriers, particularly for students attending schools outside of their designated attendance areas, and long-standing patterns of school disengagement. One middle school student that I worked with from November through February had received a physical health diagnosis that led to severe anxiety about returning to school. When I first met with her and her parents at the end of November, she was at risk of being dropped from enrollment due to more than 15 consecutive days of absence. At that time, her attendance rate was at 37%. During our initial meeting, it was clear that she genuinely wanted to return, but felt unable to do so. Together, we developed a gradual re-entry plan, beginning with attendance during her final 2 class periods each day. This approach allowed her to experience early success and rebuild confidence. As her comfort increased, we added another class period, and by the end of January, she was attending full school days again. As you can see in this image, the students' attendance increased step by step through the gradual return plan. So you can see at the beginning, all the reds, she wasn't attending at all. The first greens, a lot of the school was at Wolf Ridge for a field trip, and so she felt comfortable because there were way fewer students in school, so she attended. But then you can see where we gradually added additional classes. So far in Q3, her attendance rate has increased to 75%. The process required patience and flexibility, and there were occasional setbacks. However, because I had the time and capacity to provide sustained targeted support, she was able to successfully re-engage. School-based staff are deeply committed to students, but many simply do not have the capacity to provide this level of individualized intervention. While some interventions require months of intensive support, others can be resolved much more quickly with timely outreach and coordination. For example, a student enrolled in one of our Setting 4 special ed programs had not attended school at all by the end of September. When I contacted his mother, she shared that she no longer wanted him attending that school and was considering either homeschooling or finding a different placement. After further conversation, she recognized that homeschooling would be difficult for her to sustain, and due to her son's Setting 4 IEP, transferring to another school district was not a viable option. I coordinated a meeting with the student, his mother, and school staff to fully discuss her concerns and clarify the supports that the school had in place. Through that collaborative conversation, we were able to rebuild trust, address misunderstandings, and create a shared plan moving forward. Following the meeting, his mother felt reassured and agreed to give the school another opportunity. This experience highlights an important reality. Many attendance barriers
stem from family uncertainty or miscommunication, not a lack of commitment to education. When there is a neutral staff member with dedicated time to coordinate meetings and problem solve, situations can be quickly de-escalated and resolved before patterns of absenteeism become chronic. Having a position funded specifically to focus on attendance allows schools to respond early, strengthen partnerships with families, and keep students connected to their learning. This attendance pilot grant is not just about improving data. It's about removing barriers so students can access their education. With dedicated time and focused support, we can intervene early, rebuild family trust, and prevent absenteeism from becoming chronic. I respectfully urge you to continue investing in attendance-focused initiatives so that we can keep students engaged and on track towards graduation. Thank you for your time and your commitment to our students.
Thank you, Ms. Winship. And then do we want to go on to Heidi Olson? Okay. Next is Heidi Olson. She's the Student Engagement Navigator for the Minneapolis Public Schools. If you just introduce yourself and then you can begin.
Thank you, Madam. I'm Heidi Olson. As she said, I'm here to read 2 letters in support of our program from parents.
Would you mind just getting closer to the microphone?
Sorry.
Or the microphone closer to you?
Yep. All right. Lucy Laney has been very supportive when it comes to my children's education. They reach out and say, hey, is there anything that they can do to help my children's attendance get better by offering resources or anything that is helpful for me to help my children and support them by being dedicated to anything they are offering for my children to be successful. We are very, very appreciative. Yolanda Luckett, parent of 3 at Lucy Laney. And then to whom it may concern, I wanted to take a minute to share how much Melissa has been helping us these past few months. My daughter Alex is going through a really hard time and refusing to go to school due to severe anxiety and depression. It's incredibly stressful and honestly scary as a parent. Melissa didn't treat it like just an attendance issue. She reached out, checked in on Alex as a person, and made sure she felt supported instead of judged. That meant more than I can explain. She also gave me multiple resources, websites, webinars, and information specifically about anxiety and school refusal, so I could better understand what Alex was experiencing and how to help her. She also walked us through options for therapy and outside support and helped us think through what might be the best fit. She didn't just send information and move on. She followed up and continued checking in to see how things were going. During a time when we felt overwhelmed, Melissa was calm, steady, and kind. She made us feel like we weren't alone in it. That kind of support is rare and so important for families going through something like this. I truly hope you understand how valuable she is to students and families. Losing someone like Melissa would be a real loss to the school community. I sincerely hope she is able to continue this important work she does. Sincerely, Jamie Gordon, Minneapolis Public Schools, parent of 2. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing those letters. And I'm sorry, but when they referred to Melissa, is it Melissa Winship?
Yes.
Oh, well, thank you for your good hard work, too. All right. Well, the last person we have is Devonna Sand, parent from the Minneapolis Public Schools.
Yes, thank you for your patience. A lot of patience here. I've been very grateful to see all that. Minnesota, lifelong resident, voter, taxpayer, most importantly, mom. Since the pandemic, my daughter's been struggling, and I tried to get ahead of it. You know, before the in-person school started, I got her a weekly therapy. She's gone to in-person treatment, and then a series of deaths in our family, along with her being a target of a predator online. We did do a police report. It really shook things up. Like last fall, I've tried everything, tough love, everything to get her back into school. I mean, education in my family is very important. But this program, it does something none of this could do. She's getting a B average now. She's attending. She's talking about her future. I mean, it sounds very evidence-based, but as a parent, I feel like it's almost a miracle because I was at my wit's end and I was very concerned for her. I mean, she was talking about like dropping out, ending her life. And not only that, they reached out to me first. I was expecting a letter from the county. You know, I was reaching out proactively to school. I was trying everything I could to get her back. They reached out to me. And now today, she is doing a lot better. So, I mean, however it gets here, this works. And I want you all to know that. And I'm here to testify that as a parent.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. It couldn't have been an easy journey, but good to know that there are folks out there to help you with that. Did you have one more person that wanted to speak? No? No? Okay. Any questions? Senator Mayquade.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you so much for the parents sharing their stories too. I'm going to carry that with me. It might be evidence-based, but to me as a parent, it feels like a miracle. That's amazing to hear. I do have this is, as we're just digging into like the details of attendance, can you tell me what the definition of present, absent, tardy is in Minneapolis Public Schools? And is it the same across schools by, like if all the high schools, all the middle schools, all the elementary schools? Can you describe that to me?
Ms. Cabell.
So it is district-wide, our policy. At the elementary level, a tardy is when a student arrives to school within 60 minutes after the start of the day. So a student who arrives 61 minutes or more after the start of the school day is half-day absent. On the flip side of the school day, if they leave an hour or more before instruction ends, they're half-day absent in the afternoon. If they leave 60 minutes or less before instruction ends in the afternoon, they are an early exit, which is counted as a tardy. So neither of those, the tardies do not count as an absence anywhere in our district, nor anywhere in the state if it's coded as a tardy. All student information systems are set up to count tardies as present until that tardy is coded as an absent 1 hour or more. At the secondary level, a student is tardy if they come to class, and we don't have a time restriction on that. It's something we've looked at, we've talked about in our attendance pilot conversations, our subcommittee conversations. Some school districts are counting 20 minutes as an absence. So if you come to class, you are there for 40 minutes, but you missed the 20, they are still counting you as absent. So that is where we're working to clarify what is truly a tardy and what is an absence, so that we've got an accurate count that's done the same across all school districts. I will say in our subcommittee, or in the pilot district, actually, there are 7 school districts in the pilot that are part of the subcommittee, but all 12 districts, one of the things we found right off the bat were that we had, or what rather was that we had some districts that within their own districts were not their own schools weren't all counting the same. So you could have one school or one district with 10 schools all counting attendance differently. So one of the first things they did was get everybody on the same page in their own district. And we're working to do that in the pilot. So then an absence, excused or unexcused, pretty much it follows state statute. An excused absence is if you have a doctor's, if you're ill, if you have an appointment, family emergency, funeral. I think our policy follows state statute really closely, and most of the other policies of the attendance pilot are taken straight out of district or state law. So what we're trying to figure out is what is an absence, and then how many periods in a day is an absence. So figuring out what is a period absence, and that is at what point when you walk in are you tardy or absent, and then looking at how many of those periods count as a full day or a half day. In Minneapolis, we count 2 periods as a half day, 4 periods as a full day, but when we compare our attendance to another district that's counting only 6 periods as a full day, we're going to have much worse attendance than that district that isn't counting a student as absent until they hit 6 periods in a day.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you. That's very helpful to hear, and I think it's one of those things where it's like, okay, maybe everything we think we know about attendance in the state of Minnesota is probably wrong because we're trying to use this. Like, I would imagine every time I hear about like absenteeism, I import, well, probably just the high school I went to, like that attendance requirement and nothing more. I don't even know if my district has uniform across the district. And so I guess maybe my 2 follow-up questions are, one, are you finding that we might need more definitions? Because what I'm hearing is like, okay, if I was in class for 40 minutes but gone for 20 minutes, and then like now you're counting me as absent, and that's happening a lot for whatever reason, right? there's many reasons. That seems different than a student who's like not showing up to school, period, for many, many days. I am also remembering, and maybe this is just my age, but there were classes where if you had 3 tardies, it equaled an absence. And so it was like I could be 6 minutes late 3 times, and then I would be counted absent, but I was literally gone for 12, 18 minutes total in that quarter. Are you finding that there might be need in statute to have some more nuance about like who is gone and why they're gone and like what it means more than just like you're here or you're not?
Go ahead.
Absolutely, and not so much why are they gone, but who is gone. Okay. Because the why needs to come a little bit differently. And when we do know that throughout the state, there are many schools and districts that are counting like 3, 5, 10 tardies equal an absence. In Minneapolis, we do not do that. Tardies never accumulate to an absent. If you're tardy, but you were in class. There are other ways to capture that because that needs a different type of intervention. That's more of a behavior issue. A student chronically coming into class after it started, whether it's 2 minutes or 22 minutes. And so we can create codes for that, a code that would show that a student came in late, but does not count them as absence. And a little different, so you could use in Minneapolis, we're using the tardy code, but which doesn't count them as absent. But if you want to get more specific so that we could find root cause, it would be just a matter of creating a new code that says to the reader of that attendance printout that this student is either coming in or walking out of class during that course of the day, and this is a behavior that needs to be addressed. So definitely, there are just so many nuances in the coding. And again, I can't say it enough, that exemption code, how it is written in law really needs to be reviewed and clarified.
I have one more.
Yep, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My last question is, it just left my head, hold on. It just left my head. Oh, I know what it is. So wanting, we have lots of what I would call like good democratic tension between like what the state says every school district has to do, what's local control. And this is a place where I'm wondering, from your experience, not, you don't have to speak for every school district, but is this one where you think we would really benefit from having uniform definitions and standards across the state, or do you feel like there's usefulness in the local control, or maybe there's a third way that I'm not articulating?
Ms. Cabell?
Well, I can speak probably for the 12 districts, or at least for sure the 7 that are part of the subcommittee, and they very much want clear definitions, and they want them to come from the state level. We want to be able to compare our attendance to another district, and that's fair, because some of the districts take a much harder hit on how they code their attendance because they want to be able to have students rise to the top in the reports. So when we pull an attendance report, we want students to show up at the earliest point of time for intervention and support versus when they've missed so much that intervention is really going to be difficult, even just building that relationship with the student. So in Minneapolis, that's why we do use 2 periods as a half-day attendance. It gives us a much earlier indicator of who needs to have support and intervention. And yeah, the pilot districts are very much asking for clear state guidelines.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the committee? Senator Umar Verbaden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you so much for the presentation. One thing that really stood out to me was the proactive approach, hearing that from the parent, and as you talked about kind of strength-based approaches in Minneapolis public schools, really reaching out to understand what's going on. So when I hear that, I'm thinking, okay, in order to be proactive, you got to know like who to reach out to and ideally already have that relationship in place. So can you talk about maybe some of those best practices? Does that include even basic things like how to get the contact information for families, how to, again, start forming those relationships in the first interaction as students are registering or coming for open houses or first days of school? Like, what's the best way to do that? And then a little bit more information too on how the attendance teams are formed. Thanks.
Ms. Cabell?
So the best way to do that is to start at the universal level, Tier 1. It's really about our school climate, having a sense of belonging, a warm, welcoming environment. And so often when we're talking about attendance, we're talking about that Tier 3, the chronic absenteeism, the ed neglect, students who aren't coming to school at all. And we want to narrow that number to be as low as possible. And to do that, we have to start at the base. We have to start with strong universal measures, working really closely on what is our school climate. How do we connect and connect with families and support families and students? You mentioned getting demographic information from families. That is so difficult, and not just in our district. Many of the districts, the pilot districts, no matter where they're located, families move. Families change addresses, and we don't always get updated information. And a lot of that, at the start of every year, every family is given a new form to fill out, and a lot of them fill it out, some don't, but even those that do, the address changes throughout the year. We get many, many letters back that come to us as undeliverable, so we know the family's not there. But that can change through a relationship. When every adult in the school feels that they are there to build a relationship with a student, versus it's not my job, that's the social worker's job, the counselor's job, or our school climate team's job. It is the job of everyone, whether you're the security person at the door, the principal, in the cafeteria. Everybody builds the climate in that school, and all of us are capable of building relevant relationships with youth. So it is really about building strong, universal, Tier 1 interventions. One of the things I think there's just an unawareness of it, I think, about the importance of those Tier 1 interventions. We're always looking for Tier 3. What do we do at Tier 3 with our most chronically absent students? Those are the students where we do need that personal one-on-one, long-term, sustained relationship with a caring adult who's got accesses to resources, the time to listen, learn, react, and support the families. But we can decrease that number if we increase our Tier 1 and Tier 2 supports. Our Tier 2 supports in Minneapolis through the pilot are we call it Check, Connect, and Expect. And it's really a mentoring focus with existing staff where they are being deliberately paired with a student to build a relationship and check in on the student with them. It's having staff aware of the power of relationships, that if I just talk to a student for 2 minutes, 5 times a day or 5 times a week, that has a huge impact on how schools or students view school and the school community. So does that answer? Yeah.
Melissa Winship. Thank you, Madam Chair. As far as the relationship piece, so we know relationships are so important, but I will say on my end, my role is district-wide. So when I get assigned a family, I don't know them, I've never met them, I have no relationship, which in many instances has helped me because they've had negative experiences within their school building. And so when I reach out as a support person that is different from the same folks that have been bugging them about attendance, it's usually been really helpful. And I've had, a couple situations where I started out emailing a parent and was as supportive as I could be. And she wrote back very defensive and kind of snippy. And at first I was like, oh, okay, maybe she doesn't want support. But I thought, no, I'm going to respond again and show more support. And she wrote back like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like, I thought you were part of the school, and like those things that you said that you can help our family with would be great. And from then on, we had that relationship. So it's as opposed to punitive conversations, which don't work, it's the supportive piece that draws families in and makes them willing to receive the support.
Follow-up?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you both. And I can see Devonna Sand nodding head in the background. So it sounds like that's been received really well from parents. I'm also noting just the punitive approach not working and really trying to ask questions, be curious, what's going on, how can we support you? Just one last follow-up, because you did talk about how it can be difficult to get that demographic information, contact information, highly mobile, families. What can we do to support you? I feel like a lot of systems that people are a part of, and sometimes that's what we're trying to get creative about, of like these different systems that people are interacting with. How can they better talk to each other so we can kind of streamline things. Do you have any ideas for us on how to make that easier for you so you can get in touch with families?
Ms. Cabell?
The only thing I can think of right offhand, and Ms. Hightower talked a little bit about it, is that shared information. So if we don't have current access or information on a family's location, especially with our We Want You Back team, where a student has completely stopped attending school and nobody is responding, phone, text, or home visit, the county has access to other systems where they might have an updated address to. It's one more step. So it is like the more we can do at our fingertips, the faster we can respond. And we know that that fast response is critical for re-engagement.
Great, thank you. Senator Lucero, you had a comment or question?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank Ms. Sand and other parents that are working really hard to come up with solutions for truancy, for a supportive model for the children. This is a deep issue. Chronic absenteeism, truancy, and everything that's happening here. So it's not just the parents, but it's we had testifiers from the principals, from teachers, and others that are really working hard to come up with a solution, because our children are being impacted. So thank you for all that. Madam Chair, I wanted to take a moment to summarize this morning's committee. At the national level, Democrats have been working hard for years to flood this country with illegals. At the state level, we have Governor Walz and counties and cities trying to attract those illegals to the state, cities, and counties. From a funding perspective for education, then, we have approximately $14,000 per student to each school, regardless of legal status, so that includes illegals. And that $14,000 multiplied by thousands of illegals to the school districts is tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars then that is not going to students that are legal. Districts like mine, where students are being deprived of having multiple languages, different band or choir or other educational opportunities as a direct result of the dollars that are flowing to these other school districts. Now, Republicans have begun to enforce immigration law because Americans and Minnesotans are fed up. The result of that immigration enforcement is that illegals are being deported or are not reporting to school. They're leaving. That is having an impact on the 15-day absentee from schools, hence the conversation this morning. And so right now, Democrats are scrambling because they're recognizing that the loss of mass numbers of illegals in metro area and other schools is going to result in millions of less dollars. And so Democrats right now are scheming how to redefine attendance, absence, flexible learning, and more, so that next year when the calculations are redone, that those dollars are kept in their school districts as a result, again, of immigration enforcement. So that's where we're at. Minnesotans can see through what's happening here, and what we need to do is prioritize legal students and the academic opportunities that they are being deprived as a result of this Democrat agenda to prioritize legals or illegals. Thank you, Madam Chair.
How does one even react to that when we think of what this country was established as and our responsibility to to provide a public education to every student, not only in this state, but in this country? And that's what we are doing. So with that, tomorrow is Library Day. Please come prepared to share your favorite book and learn about the different types of libraries in Minnesota. We will not be holding a hearing on Thursday. I would like to encourage you all to get out and view the exhibit that's on the Capitol to the left of the Capitol in the front. There are 60 empty desks on display outside of the Capitol that represents the more than 200 children killed by gun violence since 2021. The installment is by parents of Annunciation in honor of 10-year-old Harper Moisky and 8-year-old Fletcher Merkel, who were murdered on August 27th. It's important to remember that firearms killed more children and teens ages 1 through 17 than any other cause, including car crashes and cancer. So I hope you all take a moment, and members, I hope you go out and show respect for our lost children. And so it is now 10:34, and we are adjourned.